Welcome to Market Matters. I'm Nadia Hassan together with Sulhi, Azman and Charlotte Chong, where we actually look at you this Friday with a bit of hope in our eyes in the sense that it's another green day. FBM KLCI continued its great streak. I think it has a lot to do with sort of the ringgit recovering and oil also reaching up 53 levels it hasn't been friends with for a while.
Yeah, it has fallen from the grades of 100 and US dollar per barrel since last year. But anyway, I think the market also tracks the regional performance. Everything we saw green across the board, basically.
Yeah, I think all of that is because the Fed released their minutes. I'm tripping again over that. Whether it sounded a bit more dovish than usual, I don't know. I still believe in the October curse. I still believe that by the end of this month we'll need a lot of hand cream to get through this in case it hurts. But I think Charlotte's been watching more than me.
In fact, it's another week of green this week. KLCI up 5% week on week to close at 1,706.54 points, surpassing the 1,700 benchmark this week. In fact, it actually went beyond 1,700 yesterday, but it closed beyond 1,700 today. Volume was at 2.46 billion, value 2.84 billion ringgit. Now, ringgit was up today again. For the rest of the week, we have been seeing ringgit going up, strengthening against the US dollar 4.12 today, as firmer crude oil prices brighten the prospect of the Malaysian economy. Now we know that Malaysia derives about 22% of state revenue from the commodity. And as a whole, when we look at the region as a whole, negative sentiment in the region has been tempered as well after the after the ministers from US saying that it's not likely for them to increase the rates by the end of this year. However, Divya Devish, a forex strategist in Singapore, says that people are continuing to cover their short positions in the currencies, and cautious that the rally is not supported by fundamentals. Echoing this guy, Michael Avery from Hong Kong, he also says something similar along the line. He said investors are getting too bullish, too fast, and the underlying problems has not been addressed yet.
You have many political issues back home.
Well, definitely. We've seen the latest development of that kind of happen. So, yeah, thanks a lot for that, Charlotte. Actually, moving on to our hot stock of the day, it's going to be an interesting look at a conglomerate. So, Berjaya Corp Berhad actually closed unchanged at 43.5 cents. Total volume was about 31.4 million shares, which is something so big is a bit of a drop in the ocean, actually. But the reason why it's actually gone up is because they have inked this JV with this Japan-listed company called Amita to venture into industrial waste recycling business. Now, keep in mind, they're already doing this through a vehicle which was a partnership of KUB, if you can follow my line of thought. So basically, KUB and Berjaya made KUB Berjaya Energy Sdn Berhad. They themselves are now going with Amita, and they're going to be called, brace yourself, Amita KUB Berjaya Energy Sdn Berhad, and they're going to bid for something worth 900,000 ringgit in terms of a deal. So this one, I don't know. How do you feel about Berjaya as a conglomerate in general, Sulhi?
Well, I know. If you look at the Berjaya corporations, right, they have a lot of businesses going on, property, legit, and so on. But this business, which is going to be a little bit smaller and consumes cost as well, will that be accretive to their earnings? I'm not really sure whether this is. They will be able to book the earnings.
Well,
they say
no, not fast. They themselves admit that basically this year they won't see, but I think any improvement in that incineration business will be good for them going forward. Because if you look at Berjaya, the whole tree itself, cultivated by Vincent Tan, does have its issues with interco loans, etc., etc. I looked at the latest earnings, right? Yes, net profit was up an impressive
577.8%.
Yeah, but apparently a lot of it was also accounting.
Yes, correct. I think they deconsolidated Berjaya Auto Berhad from the subsidiary, and of course they do recognize some of the earnings, but a lot of that has to do with accounting. It's a one-off kind of thing.
Would you buy a conglomerate? Do you feel happy with conglomerate, or would you prefer a business that actually went into its own?
I would prefer a business that have a very strategic focus. Say for example Berjaya Foods, very focused with Starbucks. You have Berjaya Land, focused with property.
So you would actually buy the other satellites rather than the mothership?
Yeah, I would if you were to ask me, because I think it gives me a lot of sense where it could actually weather through many crises. Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that kind of goes. But just to sort of bring it all home for us, the fact is that Berjaya has signed this JV with this Japan-listed company called Amita, going forward, where they're going to do undertake waste recycling project. It does show growth, of course, for B Corp's incineration business, which is good because when you have so many under your umbrella, it's good to at least show growth for some of them. However, conglomerate discount, I think something that we talk about a lot, people would like more focus. Why would you buy the mothership when you can actually buy the satellites? And of course, moving on to our stocks momentum, talking about things that stayed quite flat today. Ta An Holdings Berhad, it's pegged with negative momentum by the Edge Research. It closed flat at 3 ringgit 79 cent. It has, though, climbed by 17% since August 28th on, well, I call it strong earnings. It's up about 12%, give or take. So I don't know. These guys do logging, timber,
they do
CPO.
logging.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I think if you look at the company, right, the prospect seems to be very good as well. But then they also have issues with environmental issues with the NGOs basically, where they claim that Ta'an is actually damaging the environment and deforestation. I mean, if you look at the business, right, they have timbers and they have plantations. These, of course, would need to cultivate. They need to cultivate the land, and while earning secretive to them, they're still being bashed by the NGOs.
I never pegged you as a tree hugger.
I don't think I am a tree hugger, but but if you look at the Norway's Norges Bank, for instance, they have come out to say that Ta'an is excluded from their list of investment companies because they are concerned on the environmental damages and environmental concerns as well.
Well, never mind that, up in Norway, in that part of the world, oil is still a big thing. But never mind, you can actually invest in what you like if you feel the principle doesn't work. For Ta'an, for me, not saying that tree hugging is bad, and I mean, your furniture still has to come from somewhere, right? So looking at them, right, I think it's more, the thing they should be more concerned about is that the volatility of CPO prices. People have been saying El Nino, I think it's finally here. That's what you actually see, and hopefully that will boost a little bit of CPO, because usually when oil goes up, all the commodities seem to move in a way. It still has losses at Tasmanian plant too, which I think is a bit worrying.
Yeah, I mean, the Tasmanian plant has been a growing concerns basically, but I think they also mentioned that the operation is going to begin in the first half of this year with a production capacity of around 400 cubic meters and so on.
I think also that when you pegged it as negative research, negative momentum, I think that just means that maybe it's run out of steam and there's new catalyst. But of course, just to sort of bring it all home, the fact is it's pegged, yes, by negative momentum by the Edge Research, which means that the share price maybe is run out of steam. It has some distinct earning boost, but it's definitely beginning a boost by the USD, which we didn't really talk about, but I think because they sell in USD, it'll be good for them. However, the fortunes of CPO and, of course, the logging companies, we don't know how that's actually going to pan out.